When Audi introduced the R8 in 2007, they proved to the world they could produce a genuine supercar which could take on Ferrari and Lamborghini. Yet, of course, being an Audi, it's also as easy to drive as an A3. But now, to keep the R8 feeling fresh, Audi has just updated it with some design tweaks. There's a restyled nose with all LED headlamps, while the back features new exhaust surrounds and the coolest indicators in the world. Audi has also added a new model to the range. It's called the V10 Plus and gets a more aggressive chassis setup, a 25 brake horsepower power upgrade, ceramic brakes and plenty of carbon fibre. There's even more carbon fibre here on the inside, and the V10 Plus also gets these bucket seats as standard. In fact, Audi has increased the equipment list across the entire range, so the V10 model now comes with extended leather, while the V8 model gets things like mobile phone preparation, heated seats, sat nav and iPod connectivity, all as standard. The R8 uses the classic mid-engine supercar layout, and you can get it with a 4.2 litre V8 with 424 brake horsepower that can do 0 to 62 miles an hour in around 4.5 seconds. And yes, that's fast enough for most people, isn't it? But you don't want that engine. You don't want it because you can also get it in an A4 estate car. Instead, you want the V10 model because that gets its engine from the Lamborghini Gallardo. And it makes this car not only accelerate like a proper supercar should, but sound like one too. I mean, just have a listen to this. One of the problems with the old R8 was that its automatic gearbox was a little bit rubbish. But they're giving it a new one for this car. It's a S-tronic 7-speed dual clutch paddle shift auto. And it's very, very good. I mean, it can change gears faster than you can blink, and yet it's completely smooth. And often I suggest you should get a manual in a sports car, but not in the R8. The auto is the one to have. There's another benefit to go for the automatic model as well. It includes launch control, and when engaged, the 543 brake horsepower V10 Plus can sprint from 0 to 62 miles an hour in just 3.5 seconds. To operate it, I put the gearbox into sport mode, I put the ESP into sport mode, put my foot on the brake, floor the throttle, then release the brake. That's 60 right there. And obviously got to slow down. I don't want to be breaking the law because after all, this is car buyer. We're responsible. To be fair though, it's quite easy to find yourself above the speed limit in the R8. It's just so easy to drive fast. The all-wheel drive system provides oodles of grip, the steering is sharp. Unless you have a spirit level, you won't notice any lean through the corners either. This is a supercar which will flatter the novice with its balance and stability, yet its capability and rear drive bias means it will entertain the expert as well. On top of all this, the R8 is actually really easy to drive if you just want to pootle around. The visibility is better than on some hatchback cars, and all the controls, they're not really annoyingly heavy, so in town it doesn't become a grind. It helps that the suspension is pretty compliant as well, especially if you've got a car with magnetic ride adjustable dampers. You get them as standard on the V10 model, though a word of warning. If you go for this V10 Plus version, it actually has lowered stiffened suspension, slightly faster steering and carbon ceramic brakes, and all that makes it much better, well, a little bit better, on the track. However, it kind of ruins it a little bit as a road car because the ride then becomes a little bit too hard, and well, the brakes, when you just touch them, they're a little bit grabby. As for the problems, well, the R8's cabin may be well built, however the design is starting to look a little bit dated, especially the infotainment system, which doesn't even come with a digital radio. And seeing as this is a car buyer review, we need to talk about practicality. Yes, it's a supercar, so it's never going to be very good, and actually, cubby spaces within the cabin aren't too bad. However, if you want to carry a suitcase, good luck, because the front boot is pretty small and you can't store a suitcase on the back seats like you can with a Porsche 911. Because there aren't any back seats, but that's why. oh, who cares about that? And who cares about the high running costs and the car's price? Because actually, compared to other supercars, the R8 is incredible value, and it can turn heads just as well as cars at twice the price, especially in this matte blue paint. So when it comes to creating a great all-round supercar, I have to say, it's job done.